If you or anyone around you are affected by the subjects of today's podcast, you can reach out to get help, advice, or support from our charity partners, Women's Aid, at womensaid.org.uk, or the Yorkshire-based organisation IDAS at idas.org.uk. You can also find these links and reach out to us directly via our website, takebackthebeat.co.uk, or email us at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com.
Take back the beat.
Hello!
Hi there.
Welcome to Take Back the Beat.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Wow, you joined in like halfway through. Do you want to do it again?
Okay,
Ready?
wait. Do you know the thing is, I got so excited about the jingle that I forgot I was in it, and I just wanted to listen to it. So I was literally just staring at you then.
Okay,
but we'll go. Can I be in this one?
Okay, fine.
Okay, you ready?
3, 2, 1.
Take back the beat.
Voice notes.
There you go.
Oh god, I wasn't sure if you were just doing the voice notes. Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Professional
Yeah.
singers, ladies and gents.
We are.
We're really excited about today's show. We've got an incredible person joining us.
Yes.
But before we do that, how we are going to start every podcast is the Biscoff Challenge.
Ooh.
So, Farah, on a scale of 0 to a whole tub of Biscoff, how is your mental health this week?
I mean, this week I'm feeling it.
Oh,
I'm feeling myself.
feeling yourself.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good. I feel like
Great.
I've probably peeled off the top and had a sniff. Wow, that sounded so bad.
Oh,
No,
off
wait a
the
minute.
Biscoff.
Ew. Okay, wait. Let me.
Sorry.
Okay, in my head, it was like I was peeling that gold bit, and I was like, "Do I need the spoon?" And I was like, "No, I'll just have a whiff." I'm stopping. I'm done. That's my Biscoff of the week. There you go. Now, how are you feeling?
That was honestly the best thing I think you've ever said.
This really got dirty quick. Okay, Farah lowered the tone.
She
30
did.
seconds in.
I've really enjoyed it.
Okay, you go. How are you this week?
Yeah, I honestly I've had my moments this week,
Yeah.
and we may have dipped into the jar, but we
Yeah.
kept it in the kitchen,
Amazing. It's not in the bedroom.
not in the bedroom yet.
How is this? What is going on?
Right.
We stop
Come on.
it. Stop being rude.
Stop being rude.
Stop lowering the tone.
Stop letting your mind go there, guys.
I
know. Yes. No, actually, it's been all right this week. I think I've been really busy. I think that's kind of really helped me, and I've got a focus. I've set a date for my new single to come out,
Amazing.
and everything's kind of plodding along. I've got some artwork happening, and things are on the move.
Good.
So yeah, it's good. I kept busy. In the moments that I've had I could do with some Biscoff, I've actually been productive, which is really nice. So
Good.
yeah.
Good. We like this.
So Biscoff's in the cupboard this
Amazing.
week for both of us.
For both of us.
What great
Mine's
time.
opened, but it's not been touched.
And whiffed.
Yeah. God, everything I say now.
Open and not touched.
I can't cope. Okay, Miss Natalie Gray, tell us a little bit about our guest very quickly before we get her on today.
Voice notes.
We are here with an amazing guest today.
Very exciting.
You will have 100% seen her on the West End. She's absolutely incredible. Her name is Peach. She's absolutely stunning, and we are so grateful that she's on today to talk to us. Yay! Hey, Peach, how you doing?
Hi, thank you for having me on. It's nice to be here.
Thank you. I mean, we do have to
Virtually.
say Peach is joined by two very cute floofs.
Yes.
They're very cute. I didn't know that you had two very cute floofs, and now I'm going to be stalking your Instagram daily.
When Nat says flute,
Absolutely.
she means dogs. She means dogs. Just to clarify.
We're just praying that they don't go on a barking spree
Yes.
at some point during the podcast, but apologies in advance.
They're independent. If they want to, we'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
We'll never quieten a voice.
So, Peach, if you don't mind, if you just get straight in with it, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, yes, up until COVID, really, I guess I was a musical theatre performer and was lucky that was sort of my main job for quite a long time. And obviously now just sort of trying to head back into that, I guess. And I'm also training to be a sex and relationship therapist as well, because
That's incredible.
thought we all need something else, and that's sort of what I landed on.
That's amazing.
In terms of something else that I'm passionate about and want to sort of learn more about.
Incredible.
So
also, so on the 31st of January, you posted an Instagram post. Are you happy to talk a little bit about that?
yeah, of course,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Going straight into the deep end.
Yeah.
So that post, obviously, it was, I guess I have to say that, to any listeners, there is a trigger warning of rape and sexual assault.
Yeah.
Or sexual abuse, I guess I could say as well, which came off the back of the story that was, out in the press about the footballer. I don't know if I'm allowed to name names, so maybe I won't, about the footballer and his girlfriend. And she had released footage and statements about their relationship being sexually abusive. And my post came out of a place of mostly seeing people ask the questions like, why didn't she just leave then? Or why didn't she come out with it sooner? And what was really kind is a lot of, obviously there was a lot of support in response to my post. And a lot of people I called it brave, but it absolutely didn't come from a place of wanting or trying to be brave. I was actually just very angry. And I can talk quite openly about all of that stuff, because at this point I've had my own therapy, on it, and I now feel quite disassociated from it. So when I talk about it, it doesn't sort of dredge up a huge emotional burden, because I've found a way to live and I can talk about it openly and it doesn't upset me. But when I saw those questions being asked of that girl, I just thought there's probably other girls right now currently living that kind of situation. And when you're surrounded by that kind of response to something, it then would make other people feel scared to speak out, because if they're seeing such a negative response to someone who also had evidence, we're not just talking about someone who was and people's word is enough to be believed, but there was full evidence to back, and people still were casting doubt and questioning and saying, if this was true, then she wouldn't have acted this way. She would have left however long ago. And, obviously I don't want to generalize, but a lot of that response seemed to be coming from other men. And there's no knowledge really of how difficult it is to get out of an abusive relationship unless you're in one.
Yeah, I've had those questions asked, so it is really difficult to kind of. I can understand where the anger came from, because I had the same thing. It was men that were saying, well, you wouldn't let that happen to you. Don't be silly, or it's your business behind closed doors, that sort of thing. But then I also had friends who, to be fair, I don't really class as friends anymore, but at the time were saying things like, I didn't think you'd let that happen to you. And it makes you the issue then. So I understand where you're coming from there, because it's so frustrating when people just ask stupid questions, basically, because it is very triggering, isn't it, to see it. And like you said, if I'm listening to that and I'm somebody who might be in an unsafe space, or this might be happening to me, it takes all the strength in the world to leave a situation like that. So then when you think on the other side it's not going to get any better because you still have people questioning you, it's going to make you not want to. God, it's going to make you think, do you know what? No, they must be right, so I'm just going to stay. So I completely understand where you're coming from there.
I think people just have no idea how scary. I don't know what world people live in to think that if you're in a relationship with someone and they are abusive, that if you go, I'm leaving, they're going to be like, okay then. And there's no consequences of you trying to leave. Like, trying to leave an abusive relationship is almost scarier than staying in it, because of the consequences that sort of come your way every time you do try and leave. Like, it's not like, it's an emotional prison. It's not like the partner is just like, cool, go then, forget, it's all fine.
And that's the thing, it's the psychological aspect of it, that you've already been damaged psychologically. So you are going to have those questions because those questions have been, those doubts have been placed there to make you think that you are wrong. So like you said, it's
absolutely.
even more, it's difficult to leave anyway. And then you've got to think of, will people believe me? And that's the worst thing, to think that if I'm unsafe and I want to leave, but the other side is, well, will people believe me? That's the worst feeling in the world.
We've actually, on a previous podcast, spoken about the whole, it's not just physical bruises, it's not just physical abuse. And it's horrific that, like, you're so triggered by, literally, I saw your post and I think you'd literally posted it within 10 seconds. I'd screenshotted it, sent it straight to Farah and was like, read this. This is everything we get angry and talk about and go, why is it okay? Because also, like you said, to leave a relationship, you're told you are worthless. You are told you are nothing.
Yeah.
So therefore, why would I leave? Like, I had those questions, people saying to me, oh, it couldn't have been that bad because you never left or you never did this. And you go, well, at the time, I genuinely thought that was all that was meant for me and that's what I deserved.
And that you wouldn't have anything.
Yeah. So it's such a weird place because you go, well, why would I stand up for myself?
Yeah.
Why would I leave?
I think as well for people in, most high percentage of abusive relationships in any form are from those people who you think love you.
Yeah.
So that love basis is established first. So then it's, you're in this place where you're supposed to feel safe and loved and warm and it's home, and then all of a sudden things change, and that's even harder to walk away from because that's the one place that you're not meant to feel that way.
Yeah.
So if it's happening to people who, you've already fallen in love with or, are loved by, it's a really hard situation to leave. It really, really is. And again, it's the psychological thing that people don't understand. Like you said, you can't just be like, bye. And they're like, okay, sorry, it didn't work out. Like, it's not as simple as that.
And it's not like you go in on day one and they're just abusive from the off. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of work. Yeah. That sounds like a weird thing to say, but on that person's end, there's a lot of work that goes into, like, into things before they start showing their true colours. And I do feel like, with physical, all types of abuse are just awful. If someone punches you in the face and you are bruised, you can say, hey, listen, someone's punched me in the face. Yeah. But when you're trying to explain how it feels to be emotionally abused, no one can see a physical emotional scar. So it's sort of, even in this day and age, it doesn't seem to be, and I mean, we are obviously, with the case that I was talking about, are talking about physical abuse in some form. But even in this day and age, it still seems that those emotionally abusive relationships are still not taken quite as seriously.
No.
Even though they're so incredibly damaging, and it's the emotional side of things that over time wears you down. And when you've also left that, because I think I posted about abusive relationships quite a while back as a very different post. It was about coming out of an abusive relationship, really, and that I thought as soon as I left that relationship, I would be like, I'm free. Whereas actually the truth is all of that stuff goes on for a really long time and it doesn't actually leave you. And for me, my journey was sort of learning to live alongside it rather than living in a world where it all just left and was if it didn't ever exist. And, for me, and this is, on quite a personal level, but I think it's important just in case anyone else goes through anything similar. I came out of a relationship that was quite sexually abusive, and that meant that, in terms of the sexual experience itself, it tended to be quite violent and forceful, and that is a horrible thing. But then it did mean that when I moved on from that relationship and when I was with my next partner, then having a normal sex life again was really weird to adjust to, because because in that abusive sense it had been masqueraded as passionate and like the desire was just too much, and that's what caused that behavior.
Wow.
So then you go back to what is like a normal, healthy sex life, and I was like, what does this partner even?
Yeah,
This isn't as passionate,
What
you
are
know. And it was so weird because that was such a horrible experience, and the scar that it left was then being in just a healthy sex life with someone, you know, with boundaries, and it was safe, and it was what everything should be. Then in my head, you know, and it's so messed up, but it leaves you feeling like that person doesn't love you as much because it's not as extreme. And so, you know, there was therapy that went into that for me. And again, another one of the things that has led me to want to study that myself. And whilst it is a personal thing, I am happy to talk about it because I want anyone else to know if they're in that situation and they've moved on from something similar and they're feeling the same, that it's okay to feel that way, and you will get past it.
How did you find, like, when you got with the next partner, like, were you really open about the whole situation? Were you like, this is what I've been through, and what were they like? What was their experience with it? How did you find, was they patient? I tend
to be, no, of course. I tend to be a very open person in general. I hate lies and dishonesty, you know, even in terms of social media. There's there's so much about it that I hate because it's just not a real place that we're living in. Which is why I try to keep a lot of my posts, even if I'm like, and I've put a filter on the, you know, I want people to know that everything is real. So I've always been an open person. And my next partner was a friend and sort of had seen me through the latter part of that relationship. So he was already very aware of what had been going on. So even just entering into the new relationship, he was very cautious of it might be too soon, you know, it might be too soon. And it happened. And I think sometimes with friendships, those things do happen and they develop sooner than they would if you didn't already have a relationship in place. But he was very patient and understanding. And I guess I was lucky in that respect. And I guess maybe it did help that we had been friends already because he had seen me through a lot of it. And I was trying, whilst he and I were friends and I was still with the previous partner, I was in therapy with that partner to try and sort of work out these problems. But that partner, you know, had such a problem with lying that we would be in therapy and just lies would be being told, and I was like, well, there's just no point. You know, this isn't, we're not going to come out of this. So I think I was very lucky in that the person that I was with after was very kind and understanding and couldn't have been more the opposite in all of those in that way. But
that's so lovely.
But
you deserve
you
that.
do.
Like,
you do.
That's so lovely to hear. And like, just one of the reasons we do this podcast and we set this up was because it's so weird. Like I look at you on social media and I openly jealous of, like, you've been in everything. Like, you've done dream shows, dream roles, like,
jealous in the best way.
Jealous
like,
in the best
live your,
way.
like good for you. like amazing. But you look at people and you're like, their life is perfect.
They're a queen. Yeah. Like, you're in that picture you've got on your Instagram, you're in the Glinda bubble, and like there's a stunning picture of you in The King and I, and like Phantom. These are shows that when I was at Italia Conti, I'd have given my left leg to have been in the room for. And it's amazing that you are such a strong woman and you are talking about this and you've got a smile on your face, and you are, like, obviously listeners, you can't see Peach, but we're on Zoom. And the way you're talking about this is, there is no self-pity here. You are literally, it's really refreshing. And I think anyone who's in this situation who was maybe coming out the end of it or not seeing the light, like, it's amazing who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah, it's inspiring. It really is.
I just wanted to say that. And it's great that you did find a partner afterwards that treated you like you bloody deserve, babe. Like, it's sickening what can happen. Like, I read your post and it really triggered me because I was like, why would someone do that to another human? And when I messaged you and just said, would you talk about it? And I'm so grateful that you were like, absolutely, because I do think we need to be more open, especially in our industry. It's a very small industry and a lot of people don't want to be seen as any form of weakness. We are.
I think what's been, so there's obviously, in terms of response, it's been a lot of support. What has been hard is also not hard. I don't mean hard as in like or it's too much. What's been hard is hearing all the stories that people have then come to tell me in response, because that makes me feel horrendous. Because I want them to be okay. You know what I mean? So I don't mean hard as in like, I don't want to know them. I just mean hard as in I want those people to be okay. And it hurts me to know that even though I know it happens all the time, it hurts me to know that it's happening as much as it is. And I am obviously glad that people feel like they can come to me and tell me those stories. I mean, I'm literally training to listen to those, to listen to people do that, you know, that's for a living. So I'm grateful that people feel like they can speak to me. And then another more difficult response has been that, because one of the stories is about, it is a small industry and about a person that a lot of people, you know, kind of know. And the people who know that that's about that person and know that, they're like, oh, it's too uncomfortable. I can't, because they don't want it to affect their friendship with that person, and knowing that that person has that capability of doing something like that. Yeah. But I'm like, that's not really my problem. You know, obviously you're welcome to deal with it how you want, but it's upsetting to me that like that truth it makes you feel uncomfortable in that you're like, I don't want to hear about it, because it makes me feel like I just want to pretend that that person isn't capable of that, because really, if you want to, we all just need to know truths, you know, and I'm never going to name drop, and I decided to move on from that, and that's what I've decided, and that's fine. But I just think if you want to have friendships, relationships with people, great, but you have to know the truth behind it. So like if it's uncomfortable for you, it's totally fine for you to know that truth and still decide to be friends and have a relationship with that person. But that is the truth. Like, I'm sorry that it makes you feel uncomfortable. It also made me feel really uncomfortable. You know, going through it. So that's been a bit of a funny one also, because it's almost like people are annoyed that they have to deal with that fact.
It's hard. It's
which is a funny place to be. And I understand, I think if I found something out like that about someone I was really, really close to, I would be like, that is horrendous. I don't even know how to process that, you know, not knowing that someone I cared about so much is capable of something like that. So I can understand that it's hard, but it's just been like a funny reation to then act like I'm the problem for having mentioned it, even though I didn't mention names, so it's not like I put the information out there. But that's been a bit of a funny one, and I guess it still shows what a weird place we still live in as a society.
I was going to ask you actually, like, what do you think it is that people most like misunderstand about this subject? Like, why is it so taboo to even speak about? I mean, I've been in positions where I've spoke about it openly, and not for any reason of like, oh, this happened to me, but you know, if it's brought up, I'm happy to say I'm a survivor, more than happy. But people it kind of does the whole thing of like, it kills the mood and makes everything awkward, and I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm not having a breakdown. Like, we were talking about the subject, we weren't just talking about sunshine, and then I went, this happened. You know, so I'm trying to figure out, like, is it that uncomfortable? Like, is that why it's so taboo? Do people not want to hear it? Do people, I don't know. Is it's a really strange one, and that's the whole point as well of this, is to kind of make it not uncomfortable and to be able to ask questions and talk about it. But what do you think, Nat? Why do you think it's so misunderstood?
It's such a weird thing, because obviously a lot of it happens behind closed doors, and especially kind of sexual abuse. It's that whole thing of, oh, well, what happens in the bedroom is between you two, and some people just like it like that, and that's just passion, it's just love, and you're like, no, it's psychologically wrong, and it's hurting my soul as well as my body, and it's such a horrible thing, because it is taboo. We've had these conversations, and you say to someone, oh, this happened to me, and they go, oh God, that was a bit awkward, or she really brought the tone down, or do you think that actually happened? And you're like, why is that a conversation that even needs to happen? And we've done it speaking to a lot of survivors who are ashamed. Like that, Farah did this incredible event, and we had a woman come up to us afterwards who spoke about it, and she was shaking, talking about her experience, and she was ashamed that she'd been through it. And we were like, is that why it's a taboo? Because if you open up and you're like, this happened to me and I'm a survivor, you're labelled as one of them angry feminists or that.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's not a bad word. Like, stop labeling that.
People
as
use
anger.
that word so wrong nowadays. It really just stresses me out.
It's labelled with anger. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, we're peace and love.
Yeah.
Like, that's what
equality.
we want.
Like, look at the definition.
Yeah. But people go, oh God, they just had an argument or this. And you're like, you just don't get it. And I don't know whether it's, I honestly have no idea. And it really angers me. Like, I'm kind of sat here listening to your story and just, I'm gobsmacked by it. Like, and I think that's what
I think people think man hater, don't they? When it's like, well, we just want equality. We don't want more. Just the same as.
I just want to feel safe in my own home and I want to be loved.
Which
Why
is a
that?
normal thing. That shouldn't be anything we have to ask for. It's just should be, that's how we should be treated as humans and women.
It's, for instance, I say this, I was lucky that my abuse wasn't sexual entirely. But for instance, I'm now in a very happy relationship. I'm very happy. And he's amazing. He's very patient, bless him. But we play fought one day, like as a joke, just mucking about. And he like nipped my arm. And I told you about this. I voice noted you straight away, Farah. And I was like, this happened. And I went mad. I literally was like, don't you ever do that. And he was so hurt and mortified that I thought it was malicious, and he was like, babe, we're having a muck about, but if that's I'm so sorry. And he couldn't have done more, and he felt such guilt. Then I felt stupid, because I was like, I love you and you love me, but I'm taking this past situation and putting it on you, which is not okay. And it's so hard. Like, I'm having therapy for a lot of stuff, and it's, oh God, I'm so glad that you are coming into like actually doing, like teaching it and being in this world. Like, what an amazing thing to do, because therapy has helped and it's saved my mental health as well as my relationship, because without it I'm just self-destructive, because that's what I'm used to. So it shouldn't be taboo. We should all talk about it, and it's amazing that you are doing that and you are trying to help others. Like, just round of applause for Pete for just smashing it.
No, and for you, and to you guys for, you know, this podcast and the events and raising awareness and all of those things. Unfortunately, I do still think that we live in a bit of an ignorant society. You know, every time something happens to a girl, it's what was she wearing? Was she drunk? And, you know, it's, I think for me as well, like and I'm not ashamed to say this at all, like I'm probably what a lot of people would consider a fairly promiscuous person. And when you are that, then it's even harder to convince people that like there's been any form of abuse or that someone could have taken advantage, because the general reaction is then like, do you think maybe they had the wrong idea, or do you think you led them on? Or, you know, because they just assume that obviously, like, you know, oh gosh, the dogs are about to have a bark.
They're in.
They've obviously seen a bird.
I love how you're like, no, come here. We're watching her struggle
I'm
on
like,
the Zoom.
Stop looking out the window. But yeah, I just sort of, I think that, you know, you can barely be like a relatively promiscuous woman without people being like, oh, you know, now I think people say she belongs to the streets. I think, you know, that's the sort of, that's what I seem to see the TikTokers say. I don't have TikTok, but that seems to be what the new saying is. I mean, and I'm like, wow, like, but it's still fine for men, isn't it? Yeah. And that's why we're still living in a very backward society, and it's totally fine. It's totally fine for them to do whatever they want, and literally. And again, you know, you say something like that. You say it's totally fine for men to do whatever they want, and people go angry feminists. And I'm like, no, I don't want more. I just want us to be treated exactly the same. Yeah,
that's literally it. I'm paid the same while we're on that subject, but anyway, that's a different podcast.
It's just baffling. We're still here. Yeah. Like, you just reminded me of. You probably all are going to love this reference, but do you remember Christina Aguilera's Stripped album?
Oh my God, I love that.
God, I was obsessed.
Okay, throwback.
But there was that song, and it literally, those were the words. It was like, if a man can have how many women a night, he's a player, whereas a woman's to quote, but a hoe.
Yeah.
How uncool was that? Isn't that great?
That was really uncool. She did it in air quotes as well. Nobody can see, but...
But it's... And that was 10 years ago, that album?
Yeah. Was that the Lil' Kim one? Do you mean the
one?
Lil' Kim
one.
Yeah. Surely longer than that. It's surely longer than 10 years.
When on earth did that album come out?
It must have been longer than that.
She was preaching it then.
I feel like it was about like 2001. I feel like it's maybe 20 years old.
My days, I'm old. I feel old.
But it's true. Like, look at the Spice Girls. We love the Spice Girls. like just absolute disclosure there. We are obsessed, maybe that's the right word.
Oh, well, that's you begin it like
Healthy
girl
obsession.
power,
Girl
from
power,
like
yeah.
being a little kid.
But Jerry was always, there was always comments about her outfits and like her
Yeah.
being promiscuous and this and that. Whereas, I'm sorry, but do you think Take That were going home alone every night? Like, and Backstreet Boys, oh God, they were fit. Do you think,
But
like,
well, that's the thing. Like, Take That had, dancing in the rain in the videos with
Yeah.
the tops off and see-through stuff on, and it's like,
Oh, off they go.
they know what I'm talking
the boys,
about.
they're annoyed. They're annoyed. They're like, we agree.
We agree. That's all that matters.
It's marks of agreement.
We've got a furry fan base. I like
Yes.
that.
Well, Peach, thank you so much for coming on. Before we leave you, just give us a shout out of your socials and where people can find you. And if you want people to find you, you might be like, oh, everyone, please go away. But yeah, give us your plug.
Sure, absolutely. I am on Instagram at peachcoin. Coin COYNE, and Twitter at Mazcoin. I didn't make it simple. I didn't have everything as one handle, and that's it really. I don't really do Facebook, so
Good for you.
I don't even know what else there is now. It's just Instagram and Twitter for me.
Yeah, smoke pigeons and that sort of stuff for me. I'm in it,
Wow.
Send smoke signals and pigeons.
Oh,
babe.
I don't have
is that a new
have
app?
a TikTok or
Good for you,
I don't do
babe.
Snapchat or
Good for
it's
you.
just Instagram. So Instagram is mostly odd bouts of truths. Other than that, it's just memes and stories of the dogs.
Love that.
I'm so in for that.
I'll be following you as soon as we get off here. Now you mentioned that, I'm like, yep, dogs and truth. I'm in.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You're an absolute dream. Yeah.
No, thank you for having me. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Voice notes.
Wow. That was Peach Coin.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Peach, for coming on. That was incredible.
An incredible, incredible story.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not
Yes.
going to lie.
I think we're going to actually have to take a little break after this and
Yeah.
just have a moment because, that was amazing. She's an inspiration.
When we say overwhelmed, it's those emotions and
Yeah.
the fact that again she's not here to kind of name drop or anything like
No.
that. She's here to tell a story, and she's doing all
Yeah.
these things with sex therapy and
amazing.
just bettering herself and her life. It's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And I know she said, people keep saying she's people keep calling her brave, but
she is. Yeah.
She is brave, and I applaud you.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Queen.
Keep telling your story because it will genuinely help so many people.
Yeah.
So many people. Yeah.
I'm a little bit lost for words, I think, and that's really hard
Yeah.
to do for me.
Which is a lot for us.
It's
It's
a
a lot
lot.
for us to kind of feel
Yeah.
like this, but in
like-
the best way possible.
Yeah. Full disclosure, like there was so many moments then when I was like, she is unbelievable. I am here raging and shaking and wanting to cry for her, and
Yeah.
and that's horrible. That's actually probably not the right thing to say because it's not sympathy. I'm not.
No,
It's
well,
not
they're
a-
your emotions.
Yeah, and
they're not
it's-
wrong. So you say what you want to
It's
say.
very triggering. Like
Yeah.
hearing it and again, it's kind of what you were saying, like listening to people's stories and being angry for them, and
Yeah.
you're like, I wasn't this angry for me. No, I thought I deserved it, but
Yeah.
this amazing woman who I don't really know, but wow, like that's horrific, and it's quite horrible because you go, this is horrific that it's happening to so many people.
But I think we need
yeah.
that though. We need the emotion side. We need to feel
Yeah.
like this after, and I'm
Yeah.
sure everybody listening to it with us as well
Yeah.
is feeling the same. And that's the whole point, because that's where the change comes. Because if we all just carry on and don't listen and don't feel, then nothing
Yeah.
will ever change. So hopefully we
And
can
it
start
will.
to change that. Very small, but
Yeah.
it's a start.
I mean, full disclosure, we have just had a little break and had a little hold of hands,
Yeah.
me and Farah, and a little bit of a breath
Yeah.
before we came on to do this outro because it's
Mm-hmm.
Peach's story. We don't want to overshadow it with our emotions and how it is so triggering, and it's awful she's been through that, and
Yeah.
it's a story that needs to be told. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Peach.
Yeah.
Um,
And we hope you're all okay listening to the episode. We love each other and we love you all.
we love you all. So to finish off the podcast, win of the week. Do, 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 do. Oh, that was like a nice.
I enjoy it. Okay.
Mike, who edits our podcasts, that was great, wasn't it?
He's like, oh God, these two.
Why did I sign on for this? Win of the week. Farah, you've chosen our win of the week this week.
Okay. Right, no. Okay. Nat knows how I feel about my crime documentaries on Netflix.
Oh, good,
and this is my little win of the week because it just made me, you know when you've got something on that little notification bell on your Netflix and it's like coming soon or what we think you'd like. And mine's just like crime documentaries, like serial killer documentaries.
Yes, it is.
I am okay, but I just enjoy that. So I've been waiting for my favourite Netflix show to come back for season 2. And
what is it?
Do you know when you've just got a busy week and then you're like, I'm going to sit down and binge you at the end of this week, like with that much passion? That's exactly what happened, and it's called Catching Killers.
Okay.
And you know why I love it? Because they catch the killers. It's in the title.
It's just not one of them where it's like, and they're still on the
On the
loose.
and you're like, shit, did I lock my door? Like somehow they're gonna know I watched that episode in America and they're gonna get on the the plane and come and find me because they know I'm scared. But with this, they find the killers and put them away and put them on death row, and I'm like, yes. So
I swear she is a really nice person and not terrifying at all.
Listen, how many people out there are obsessed with crime documentaries?
I know,
Like, come
my
on.
sister's one of them, so I'm with you, babe. Yeah.
So that's my win of the week because I've had such a busy week and I've literally was like, I just want to sit down with a cup of tea and watch Catching Killers and watch all of them get put away. That's it. That was my highlight of the week. I need to get out more.
No, that's a great win of the week. And I'm sure there's loads of people out there that have gone, oh my God, I want to see that. So win of the week, go watch it. Catching Killers on Netflix. Thank you guys so much. We love you all.
Love you.
Woo!
Bye.
Take back the beat. Voice notes.
We do apologise if anyone was triggered by any of the dialogue we used today. We are still learning and we are only just beginning to talk about our own experiences. We're aware that trigger warnings are completely different for everybody, so please bear with us. We love you all. We also want to hear your experiences. If there's anything you'd like to share with us, any stories, anything you are happy to discuss on this podcast, you can stay anonymous if you would like. Please send us an email at takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. That's takebackthebeattour@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media at takebackthebeat. Thanks, guys. We love you all.